The senior out of Framingham, Mass., number 14, Tim McDonough. Starting at forward, the freshman out of Duxbury, Mass., number 16, Connor McGinnis. And starting at defense, the junior out of Westport, Mass., number 24, Asa Mills. The head coach for Massachusetts Maritime Academy is Greg Perry. Now for your Bridgewater State University Bears. Starting at goalkeeper, the junior out of Braintree, Mass., number 0, Matt Bagley. Starting at midfield, the sophomore out of Derry, New Hampshire, number 2, Dan Barker. Starting at midfield, the senior out of Plimpton, Mass., number 3, John Sampson. Starting at forward, the senior out of Boston, Mass., number 5, Brahma Samadi. Starting at midfield, the senior out of Plimpton, Mass., number 8, Tucker Fairbanks. Starting at forward, the senior out of Brockton, Mass., number 12, Samau Mendez. Starting at defense, the sophomore out of Braintree, Mass., number 13, Chris Naughton. Starting at midfield, the freshman out of Framingham, Mass., number 15, Jeff Braverman. Starting at defense, the senior out of Northeastern, Mass., number 17, Luke Samperi. Starting at defense, the sophomore out of Haverhill, Mass., number 18, Josh Goring. And starting at forward, the junior out of Charlton, Mass., number 19, David Wilson. The head coach for the Bears is Brendan Adams, now in his 11th season, and he is assisted by Michael Cruz. Ladies and gentlemen, the NCAA, the MASCAC, and Bridgewater State University promote good sportsmanship by student athletes, coaches, and spectators. We request your cooperation by supporting the participants and officials in a positive manner. Profanity, racial, or sexist comments and other intimidating actions directed at officials, student athletes, coaches, or team representatives will not be tolerated and are grounds for removal from the site of competition. Also, consumption or possession of alcoholic beverages is prohibited. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, we ask that you please rise and direct your attention to the American flag to the left of the scoreboard as we honor America with the playing of our national anthem.
You are looking at the Bridgewater State Bears men's soccer team as they get ready to go in action against the Maritime Buccaneers. Welcome to the broadcast, everyone. I'm John Luck with Mike Emond. And Mike, to say that this Bridgewater State team has had its ups and downs might be the understatement of the season.
You know, John, that's exactly what it is. I mean, we've done a lot of these games so far this year, and it's been up and down, win-loss. Haven't really been able to get going on a winning streak. But it's been a lot of spread out play so far this year, and they haven't been able to get on the board early. As last week when they played LaSalle College here, they get on the board within the first 5 minutes of the game, and I think that's really what they need to capitalize on, is not letting the opposing team score so early in the match.
That's right. That matchup against LaSalle, that was definitely a different game, as there were a lot of different cards handed out, including a very important red card. Yeah. Craig Shattuck is not playing today.
And to talk about what happened in that LaSalle game, you know, it was very unfortunate
for Craig to get the red card. I didn't really see him initiate any fight or, get dirty. Someone came and pushed him from behind, and he received the red card as well as another player on Lascelles. But I really thought it didn't go in Craig Shack's favor. But that's the way it is. The red card, he's now out for this game here, and he's one of their top players and veterans on this team.
Nevertheless, the Bears will have to go in action. Matt Bagley will be the Bears goalie. His 13th appearance, and he has a 1.53 goals against average. Meanwhile, for the Buccaneers, Brett Young getting the start in net, his 12th game, and he has a goals against average of 0.96. So if you're Bridgewater State, the first thing you have to get in your mind is get inside Mass Maritime's defensive zone within the first 5 or 10 minutes.
Exactly, and you definitely want to work the ball in the box as much as possible. And one thing we didn't see last game, there was only about one corner in the whole game, as they didn't try to work it around behind the goalpost so they could potentially force a corner, because they had a very tough time getting in the box to score on Lascelles. As also the goalie for Lascelles, Colmenares, was unbelievable last game. The kid was making saves all over the place. But as you said, goalie today for Mass Maritime is very good. And Bagley on the season has allowed 19 goals, but the goals he let up last game were very, very tough plays, as one just went right over his head, and he curved it right into the top left of the goal. And the one before that, there was a lot of people around, so it was difficult for him to make the save. So I still think Bagley is doing a very good job so far this year for the Bears.
We are underway. Mount Mendez kicked it off to the far side, and Mass Maritime will take over at about the 18-yard box. Mass Maritime coming into this game off of a 3-0 loss against UMass Dartmouth. Meanwhile, as we mentioned, Bridgewater State coming in off of a Lascelles loss, 2-1 the final score in that one. Bridgewater State 4-7-1 and 1-2-1 in MassCAC play. Meanwhile, Mass Maritime 6-4-2 and a matching 1-2-1 conference record. As number 3, that's Hayun Nguyen.
And something that we talked about last week, John, was the play of Mount Mendez. The first 3 years he came to Bridgewater, was scoring at will all 3 years, and he is up there in the top 10 of the all-time leading scorers in Bridgewater State history with 56 goals. It's really weird to look on the stat sheet and see Mendez with just 1 goal so far in the season, and that goal was on a fairly easy penalty kick. So you wonder, what the reasoning for that is, as Mendez was a scoring machine the past 3 years.
The missed hitter by Tucker Fairbanks. The pass was meant for David Wilson, but nevertheless, Bridgewater State will take it in. As we continue on this homecoming Saturday, if you're just joining us, there's been a lot of action so far, including the football team beating Worcester State 19-7. It looks like Bridgewater State has a scoring opportunity here. A nice kick and a nice scoring opportunity off the legs of the goalie, Brett Young. Nevertheless, a great look for Brima Samadi in the first few minutes of this game.
Samadi with a great opportunity right there, an unbelievable through ball. I wasn't able to see who that pass was from, but Samadi had a wide open lane to the net and made the right decision, but right at goalkeeper Brett Young.
Samadi's pass to 15 Jeff Fairman was no good. So Samadi was rushing in again, but that one would not go down. Shot made by Samal Mendez. Mendez, the 6'1 senior from Brockton.
And you talk about Mendez and Samadi, you can definitely see those two work together on the field with passing and finding the open player, as they've been playing with each other for a while now and very familiar with each other's style of play.
The kick from Brett Young goes past midfield off of the head of John Sampson, and Samadi will take it up. Adam Vieira past midfield. That kick right into Bagley's glove off of Rob Robbs' kick. So Josh Goring will take it up.
We were talking about Samadi as he touches the ball here, as he had that wide open lane before with the first shot of the day. He's the Bridgewater State's leading goal scorer in 12 games. He's got 3 goals as well as 3 assists. So 9 points on the season for him.
Dan Parker got into a little bit of a tussle there with number 5, Adam Rabesa. So the Buccaneers will take it as we approach the 41-minute mark on a very crisp fall-like afternoon here in Bridgewater. Cleared out by Rabesa. Bears will take it, but nevertheless, if you're a soccer player, the first thing you want to do is just clear the ball out of your own zone to allow a chance to set up your defense, even if it is going to be closer to the net than before. The sky-high kick is going to be cut off. A nice header by number 12, Stephen Maccabee. If you watch the halftime show, we were previewing this game, and the first thing that we talked about was if you're a team that's 4-7-1, maybe the first thing that comes to mind in public perception is maybe what's the point? We have a few games left, just let's go out there and play. But some of these younger players are playing for playing time. You look up down here on this roster, there's a lot of sophomores, a lot of juniors, heck, even a lot of freshmen.
You know, this team has a lot of youth to it. You know, it's sad to see some of the very good seniors go. You know, Captain John Sampson, Tucker Fairbanks, Simao Mendez been here for a long time, Luke Samperi, all great players, but there is a lot of good young players on this team coming up, and this team could be very deadly in a couple of years. You know, you saw sophomore Steve McAvoy with the game-winning goal against UMass Boston. The kid is just running non-stop. I've never seen anyone run for 90 minutes more in my life. I don't know if he ever came out of the game, that game, especially in overtime. He's going to be a very good player as he comes up the ranks, and you know, a lot of even freshmen who've got some pretty decent time. We saw Connor Murtaugh. He got some decent time for a little bit. He's a freshman. You see Jeff Braverman, he's starting. He's a freshman. So a lot of youth coming up the ranks, and some bright times for BSU men's soccer.
Somehow you try to make something of the scoring opportunity, but a little bit too much footwork, and Bears will have to reset. Somehow Mendez. A little 2-on-1 situation. Perhaps a breakaway chance for David Wilson above the net.
And Wilson very high over the net, and that's something we saw a lot last week as well, was miscues from the Bears offense, either shots. We saw a couple opportunities last week way wide right, nowhere near the goal, and a couple just blasted right over the goal. So we'll see if the shot efficiency today of the Bears can improve.
Just over 38 minutes remaining in this first half. Both teams remain scoreless. This one is passed off to the far side and knocked out of bounds by Dan Barker. Maritime will take it out of their corner.
First corner kick of the day for either squad.
I believe that's Tim McDonough in the corner. Matt Bagley, nice tip away. However, Maccabee will get it on the near side, kicks it back. Rob Robbs has that one knocked away by number 13, Chris Naughton.
Another one of those young players on defense. Played very well in the game against LaSalle here as Samadi pushes it upfield.
Brian Samadi, you just get exhausted watching him run back and forth and try and fake out his defenders. Maccabee will throw this one into midfield with a header off of Sampson. The high kick will be knocked to Connor McInnes. That was knocked out of bounds. I remind you, you can join in on the broadcast on our Twitter page at Bear Sportsnet. Once again, that's at BEARSPORTS net. So definitely encourage you to join in on the conversation online. Become part of the broadcast, as you can with each and every Bear Sportsnet event as we get ready to shift things to the winter scene in basketball.
And it's crazy to only see 4 games left in the soccer season. Feels like just yesterday we were starting up. It shows you how fast the semester moves along here. It's already mid-fall, and like you said, a very crisp Saturday afternoon.
The header by Rabesa will go back to the 30 on the football field. And Robs will take it on the far side. As Maritime will take over, Adam Vieira around the 45-yard line. A little under 35 minutes remaining in this first half. As Sampieri will kick it high.
You talk about Sampieri, he's another one of those seniors who I've never seen a miscue from him on defense so far this year. Always the right place at the right time. Has great soccer instincts. The senior Luke Sampieri of Northeastern Mass.
Headed by Sampson will go back to the Bucks. And Asa Mills will kick this one to just to the left of the net as Bagley picks it up.
Very calm wind this afternoon as well. Won't be playing a factor in this one. As we saw a couple games this year, and the wind definitely played a factor, especially long kicks down the field. We saw a couple of games when the wind just pushed the ball back completely.
Mass Maritime trying to make an offensive attempt here. However, Bridgewater State does a great job knocking away, and as you said, Sampieri a great job clearing the ball out of his own end. As Rob Robs goes head over heels, and he will land on his feet, so I'll give it a 9. And a free kick opportunity for Asa Mills. Just over the head of Wynn. Tim McDonough will bring this one in from the far side. He waits for his offense to set up. Riley, a long kick that will go into the gloves of Bagley as he falls on top of Wynn.
Nice job by Bagley coming out of the goal there. Grabbing that one before anyone could get inside the Bears box.
Bagley, a very unique goalie, or goaltender, I should say, at the fact that he'll go out there and take a few hits. He'll even take a few shots, as we saw in the last game against LaSalle. He actually came out of the net to try and even things up.
Probably not too safe with this mound of ice here. I'm close to the soccer sideline.
This one is going to be hit just shy of that. Just under 32 minutes remaining. Still remaining scoreless as Sampieri will try and clear it out, and he does.
It's been a very conservative early first half here for both squads. There's not much action in between close to the net besides by Samadi.
Sampieri kicks it away, and he does again as Adam Vieira tried to make a scoring chance there for the Buccaneers. However, it's all for naught.
Yes, Maritime get their second corner kick of the day. This will be their 57th corner of the year.
Kick right off of the head of Samadi.
Nice shot by Samadi, being physical and getting that ball back into their zone.
Samadi takes a little spill. Looks like he has a neck warmer on him. It is kind of chilly just up here in the press box. Well, it's kind of warm in the press box, but it's kind of chilly on the field. Will that have any effect at all on these players as you get past the halftime and you can sit down and relax for 10 minutes?
And I think that's, the biggest time where if it's cold, especially during a soccer game, is when the cold can come into effect. Because, you start the first half, you start moving around, and your body starts to heat up. But then when you go to halftime, they're not going into a locker room. They usually just sit out in front of the net. That's when your body cools right back down, and you start back up, which is a problem.
As we go under the 30-minute mark in this first half, a pretty quick-moving first half. That saw Bridgewater State have a couple of good chances early on. This one will be kicked out. And Daniel Riley will throw it in.
Four shots by the Bears early on, just one for the Bucks.
Somehow Mendez past midfield.
Should have kept going right with that instead of trying to split the defenders right there.
And Jeff Braverman falls down and falls down hard. Favoring his left leg, it looks like. John Sampson getting ready to deliver the free kick. Once again, no wind, so it shouldn't be a factor here. That one is headed away by the Bucks.
That's a real nice ball, too, by Hugh Nguyen.
Mass Maritime has a chance to reset here as they're trying to get the first goal of the game. Here's Wynn. A good kick that goes through the uprights, however, no good by Vieira.
Very, very strong kick, too. Daniel Vieira on the season, 2 goals. And leading the Buccaneers in goals this season is Hugh Nguyen. He's got 4 in 12 games, 2 assists. Like I said, behind him is Vieira with 3.
Mendez will kick this one through the middle, and Brett Young will clear it out. Headed by Goring. And Samadi will take this one back to his own end. Sampieri up to Tucker Fairbanks. And Brett Young will get the ball, and there will be no call.
something we've seen from Brendan Adams a lot this year. Towards the end of halves, we've seen him substitute a good amount of players. Usually you see a team sub just one or two players in, but Coach Brendan Adams, 4 or 5 people at a time subbing in and out, which we've seen a lot so far this year. Bagley clears this one.
And Mendez will take this one past midfield, kicks it up. Nice sliding save there by David Wilson, I should say.
David Wilson, the 6'1" 180 forward junior, has done a great job, in the middle of the field for Bridgewater, both in the offensive and defensive end. He's got, like I said about Sam Perry, he's also somebody else who has good soccer instincts, and you can just tell, by his play.
John Sampson on the far side. Strong kick off the head of Samadi, I believe. And I believe that was a fingertip save by Brett Young.
That was a really nice kick right there. And that's what you want. That's where you want the ball to be. You want it to be in front of the players, and it allows for a header like that, in a big group of people. So a very nice spot, and the Bears get the corner kick as well. So
here's Wilson with a kick inside the 18 off of the head of Riley. And Mass Maritime stops that Bridgewater State offensive attempt.
But, it looks like Bridgewater definitely has the upper hand so far in offense. It looks like they've been able to make more plays inside the box and, create more opportunities for scoring.
Just over 23 minutes remaining in this first half. Both teams having at least 2 or 3 scoring opportunities early on. And this was going to be just out of the reach of Steve McAbee. And Bagley diving stop. Wow. What a save by Bagley.
That's a real nice job by Bagley there as Derek Young puts that shot in. It looked like Chris Naughton was going to be able to keep that one and clear it out, but Young stayed with it, made a nice shot on goal, but Bagley with a very nice save.
Jeff Braverman brings us up. Here's Mendez. Mendez gets tripped up, and Brett Young will make the stop. And they're going to call a penalty over here. It looked as though Samuel Mendez had a clear shot at the net. And Samuel Mendez will get a penalty shot here.
And this is the second time this year Mendez has had a penalty shot, and he scored his only goal of the season on a penalty shot against UMass Boston. And in that game, that put the Bears up 3-0 against UMass Boston. It was late in the second half, and UMass Boston actually ended up coming back to tie them 3-3 with about 6-7 minutes left in that one.
So now Mendez, 22:08 remaining in this first half. He's trying to get the first goal of the game as we get ready to kick it off. And here's the kick. Saved by Young.
Unbelievable job by Brett Young. Stayed with his instinct, and that was going right. He didn't second guess himself, and Mendez went left with the kick, and he went right and made a great save right there.
Just been the story of Bridgewater State season so far. Some of these kicks that these guys have made, it's gone off the post, on the post. A good diving stop by a goalie. As Brett Young kicks this one to midfield, just out of reach of 16 Connor McInnes. We have a couple of substitutions, I do believe. A yellow card, I believe, is the call, actually. Not really sure what happened on that.
That will be the 12th yellow card of the season for the Bucks. They also have one red card on the season as well.
Remember, the red card is the reason that Craig Shack is not playing tonight after having an altercation on the field against LaSalle. Bridgewater State is doing well, holding their own without one of the scoring threats. As Imperi goes back to clear it out. It's going to be a foot race between Wynn and Naughton. Imperi clears it out, almost getting tackled as he was. Sampson kicks it up, and Adam Rabesa will cut that off. Kicks it off to Asa Mills. Just over 20 minutes remaining in this first half. Connor McInnes on the far side. As he waits for his offense to set up. Here's a chip shot as Bagley gets taken out by a couple of Buccaneer players. And this one will go over the net. But nevertheless, another good scoring opportunity that goes for naught for Mass Maritime.
Yeah, a real nice look into the box. They had a good amount of Buccaneer players swarming around that ball, but you saw Bagley and a couple of Bridgewater defenders able to also get up there and get a head in there, and Bagley able to get a hand in there as they cleared it out to Young, who shot it well over the net.
Jose DePina, maybe a spark plug for the offense coming off the bench.
Yeah, DePina, the senior, has seen some pretty decent minutes in the past couple of games, and he's definitely been a factor at midfield.
Asa Mills will kick it off from the 35-yard line on the football field. Off the head of Barker. It's about this area that Mass Maritime perhaps is at their most dangerous, as we've seen a couple times coming out of the throw when they're kicking. They've had a couple of good looks at Bagley in the net. This is another high kick that goes off of the head of Goring. Vieira will get possession and kick it out.
There's the sophomore Steve McAvoy I was talking about earlier on, who got a couple of starts for 3 or 4 games in a row, especially that one when he had the game-winning kick in overtime. Definitely keep an eye on him.
Adam Smith kicks it back to Mendez. And Smith trying to make something of this, however, gets it knocked out of bounds. Mendez has a good balance of speed, yet he has the size to take on a couple of defenders. Right there you see slide tackling not working very well for Bridgewater State. Right there, some good defense by Sampieri, even though number 10, Stuart Kinsman, it looks like, was not willing to let go of that situation. And Sampieri will ultimately win, getting the free kick.
Six shots so far for the Bears, 5 for the Bucks. 3 saves made by goalie Brett Young, 2 made by Bagley. Neither letting up a goal here early on. 3 fouls apiece for both teams as well.
As we are just under 16 minutes left to go in the first. On homecoming Saturday for Bridgewater State. This is just part of the smorgasbord of sports taking place either here or on the road.
Nice job by DePina.
Ryan Culp around the 40. Just misses the referee. And Sampieri will take it. DePina up to number 3. That's Sampson. And Mendez perhaps has a chance to put a goal here for the Bears.
Nice
Kicks
pass
it
to
up.
McAvoy.
And a score by Steve McAvoy.
And that's what I said. I was talking about McAvoy. The kid's all over the place, the right place at the right time. Mendez makes an unbelievable move on his defender and an unbelievable no-look pass to McAvoy. He makes a nice move. Bears are on the board first. And Stevie McAvoy gets his 3rd goal of the season, and he's now tying Brahma Samadi for leading goal scorer of the Bears.
As I said, that's where Mendez is very dangerous. He has a build of someone that can take on a couple of defenders and has the speed almost to cross up his feet, get those passes going, and the no-look pass especially, as we saw.
I believe they potentially called off that goal right there. Pretty sure they did now. No score for either team still on the scoreboard. Not exactly sure what the call was. Offside call, which called back the goal. My apologies.
I was getting built up in all the hype that you're
Yeah,
making for
I
Steve
was real
McAvoy.
excited about Stevie McAvoy, ex-roommate of mine. A real nice move on his defender and a great play by Mendez. It's too bad.
So we do remain scoreless, just under 13.5 remaining. As the sun starts to set and the temperatures continue to drop. Sampieri has it knocked away from Kinsman. They have a little bit of a rivalry so far today. Playing great defense and offense against each other.
Looking at a temperature of 50 degrees right now here in Bridgewater.
comes Mendez. A great look at the net. However, has it knocked away by Jake Seufert.
I shoved my Mendez. He's looking very, very good today. He's pushing the ball upfield, making nice moves. Mendez definitely making things happen on offense for BSU.
Jose DePina kick it out of the corner. And that kick was aimed for Adam Smith, however, knocked away, and Buccaneers take over. Tucker Fairbanks on the far side has it knocked away by Adam Rabesa. Throw in two to Pina. Barker has it knocked away. St. Pierre races back. It'll stay in bounds as DePina misses that kick. St. Pierre, nice kicking skills right there. He kicks it, however, to Dylan Buckborough. Here's Mendez. Races past Rabesa. Now Rabesa will win the battle and keep it in bounds. And now we'll kick it out. Sampson to the near side and Goring. Adam Smith back to Goring, however, passes through him. And Derek Young will take over. Kicks up to Kinsman, who might have something here.
Nice play by Naughton.
Smith kicks it near the net, and McAvoy races to it, however, nearly collides with Brett Young. And it's just shy of the midfield stand there.
And, I talked about how different it was to see Mendez with just one goal on the season. It really seems like he's changed up his style of play a little bit when it mostly was a shot first mentality for him, as it looks like potentially pass first mentality on the year for Mendez.
McAvoy and Young, that's the second or third time, I believe, that they come nearly close to colliding. And that's the risk you always run when you're a goalie that goes outside of the net area. Culp over to Jake Seufert. Knocked away by DePina. Fairbanks, nice footwork through his defender.
David Gavush now in the game. Taunton native.
Just under 8.5 left to go in this first half. Fairbanks over to Naughton. Or excuse me, that's Goring. Ooh. McAvoy's been playing like a rocket.
I told you the kid's got one speed and that's go. He just lays into a Buccaneer. Pick up the fall for sure.
Rockborough up the field. And Naughton will eventually win, bowling over his offensive matchup. We've seen Chris Naughton really become an integral part of this lineup, and we saw in the last game against LaSalle that he is very valuable in getting that ball back from the 18-yard line.
Exactly, and that's always good to have, great players like Sam Perry when he's in there on defense, as well as Naughton. And Naughton, only a sophomore, so definitely has a good amount of years of coming. He's got good size on him, too, for someone on defense, 6 foot, 180, so...
Sampieri races back to get it. Asa Mills intentionally kicks it to Josh Goring, I should say.
Looking for Gavush.
It was good today.
And that one is knocked out of bounds. McAvoy. And again, you see the danger of going out of the net. Comparing it to hockey, it's kind of like what Tim Thomas used to do when he came out of the net, and it was very dangerous because he always used to have a scoring chance going against him, it seemed like, all the time. Brett Young kicks it back to Fairbanks. Sampson to Woods. McAvoy again. Bridgewater State doing a good job just throwing their leg in there to at least knock it away from Mass Maritime and just make it anyone's ball. Young, a sky-high kick. It'll go off of Samperi's head.